Hello and welcome to part 2 of our series Why Your Vehicle Won't Start. In part 1, we made sure our battery had sufficient power and our battery connections were nice and clean. Now we'll continue testing and see what we can find. Today we'll be working on a 2003 F350 Power Stroke. Here's the truck we're working on. So let's just take a look at the batteries here. Double check, make sure everything's looking good. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good. We'll see how much volts we got here. Yeah, we got good voltage, so let's get in the truck and see what happens. So okay, wait for the glow plugs to cycle. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's try it again. It was a big click. Maybe if so there's a big click. So that sounds like the starter is clicking. I can show you an example of what's going on here. This is just an example. So what's happening is it's just making a click noise. So it is getting power, and the pull-in winding is sucking in, but the starter's not spinning. So we're going to go down to the starter and just do a couple tests here, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're under the truck here, and this is our starter. Every starter is pretty much the same. You got two wires run into it. You got your battery cable, and then there's always a switch wire, which comes from your ignition switch when you turn the key. So always on the battery wire, you have to have 12 volts. So we got 12 volts there. And then let's see here if we can see that. You can see the switch wire right there. It's up in the back. So we already know, because we can hear the starter clicking, that we are getting our 12 volt signal on the switch wire. But if you couldn't hear the click, then you would do this test here. I'm gonna just install a jumper wire onto the switch wire, and I'm just going to run it into the cab of the truck so we can see if it's getting a 12 volt signal when we turn the key. So I'll do that right now. Okay, yeah, just to make it easier, I just installed this jumper wire onto the switch terminal there. It would be nice if I had another person here and they could just go turn the key and I could test here, but it's just me, so this is what we're gonna do. These connections it would be a good idea just to clean these connections up. They're not looking too hot. So let's go see if we got our 12 volts signal on the switch wire. Okay, so here's the wire that's attached to our switch cable down in the starter, and I got it hooked up to my power probe here. These power probes are very handy tools when you're diagnosing anything electrical in the vehicle. They're really handy. I'm going to make another video about them because you can do lots and lots of testing and diagnosing with them. I'll put a link in the description for cheaper and more expensive ones that you can purchase, but they're a really good tool to have. So I'm gonna go turn the key on here. When I turn it for start, we want to just make sure we got our 12 volt signal there. Okay, it's sending about 9 volts. It's a little low, but you can tell that it is getting its signal. So basically what that means is we have all our signals. We got our 12 volt power supply there at the starter, and we're getting the signal on the switch wire. So basically the starter has to come out and be inspected. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so here's the starter. We took it out, and just like we suspected, we got very bad. The contacts are worn out, which is a good sign. I mean, this is an original OEM unit, so we're gonna go ahead, clean it up, rebuild it, stick it back in there, and yeah, that'll be it then. It's always a good idea, I find, to buy the good original units, not the Chinese stuff, because you know, you might pay a little more, but with your original good quality units here, most of the time you just wear the brushes out or wear the contacts out. They won't break or fail in any way, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, the starter's all cleaned up. We changed the contacts, bearings. The brushes still had lots of life on, so we just left them in. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in, and we'll clean those connections there at the starter, and hopefully the truck will fire up. Okay, the starter's back in. We cleaned the connections there at the starter. We quickly made sure there was oil in the truck, so let's see what happens. Let the glow plugs go. Okay, she fired right up. So we made sure the battery was good, the connections were good at the battery, and based on that click noise, we then decided to go do some testing at the starter. Turns out this time the starter had to come out and be repaired or replaced. Stay tuned. Next episode for part 3 of the series, Why Your Vehicle Won't Start, and we'll explore a different scenario. Thanks for watching. Feel free to comment for video suggestions. Hit the subscribe button and give a thumbs up. Thanks.